Hey, welcome back to Jaws on Sports, your favorite show, the best darn show on the air. I'm Mike. I got Zach back with me tonight after a week of doing a lot of work. How's it going there, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
Getting toward the end of your junior year, kicking some butt. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Just got back from the gym, pumping a lot of iron, sweating an awful lot. And for our fans out there, let me tell you something. When you've got a hairstyle like mine, it sweats a lot. There's nothing to soak it up. I took a shower 15 minutes ago, dried off. I'm still sweating like crazy, but that just means I'm working hard. Okay. So, just real quick, we had the Final Four basketball this last weekend. We had a couple big winners. UConn men's team just dominated for a second year in a row. Now, on the ladies' side, South Carolina Gamecocks, they took out Caitlin Clark in Iowa. Just great season of basketball. And just like that, it's gone. What else happened this weekend? WrestleMania. Zach, your favorite, John Cena, he actually showed up. He got his butt kicked by The Rock, but he showed up. So I know that you would have been very happy to see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I I didn't see that till the morning after, but should have tuned in for that match or
You
whatever
you can
happened.
tune in on the Peacock Network anytime, man. Let me tell you.
I do not have the Peacock network, so that will not be happening.
Well, the folks from NBC need to be contacting you right now, and I expect them to be doing that here real quick. So anyway, as we press forward here, the big event coming up this weekend is UFC 300. As just looking it up, UFC 1 was way the hell back in November of 1993. And Zach wasn't around for another decade back then. I had been around a long time already at that point. And I remember watching those videos. Like when I was on call on the weekend, I'd go to Blockbuster Video and rent the UFC tapes. And UFC one, two, three, four, they had tournaments. Guys would fight three times a night to win. You had Hoist Gracie who dominated everybody with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They didn't know what to do with him. Back in those days, if you were a wrestler, you took the striker down. Striker couldn't do nothing. If you were a striker, you hit the wrestler, knocked him down. The wrestler couldn't do anything. Ain't like that anymore. As we fast forward 30 years onto UFC 300. And last thing I'm going to say before I turn this over to Zach, in my opinion, on paper, this is the most stacked card they have ever had. And I say that for multiple reasons, but two of them, there are nine fighters who are currently ranked in either the top 15 men's or women's pound for pound. And then the two guys that are opening the whole card, Figueroa and Cody Garbrandt, they're both former champs. And they're in the very first freaking fight when people are still getting their beer and their popcorn before they sit down. So lots to talk about tonight. Take it away, man.
Yeah, so with that fight, Davison, Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt, just striking. That's what it is. They're just gonna stand up and strike. Figueiredo making the transition to 135, 125 pound champ for a long time, and that was a bad cut on his body, the weight cut. So not having that helps out a lot. Garbrandt, he does have power though. That's the one thing that goes last. Definitely not in his prime, but he's kind of chinny. He doesn't take shots as well as he used to. This could be an interesting fight. Great fight to start the card. They're just gonna strike, and mouth breathers like me love that. So they're gonna they're gonna go in there and beat each other up. But I think Figueiredo's gonna stop him. Sadly, I want Cody to win, but I think Figueiredo gets a TKO in this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I do want to take a shout out. One of our newer subscribers actually knows Cody Garbrandt. I was talking with him, not with Cody, but with the guy who knows him a few weeks back, and I thought that was pretty cool. We were talking a little bit about this fight. Uh, I was a Cody Garbrandt fan a long time ago when he won the title. He only had it that one fight, but he looked like he was going to be the next one that happened. He's been around a long time. Figueroa has been around a long time as well. I don't see Cody taking this one. He's got that puncher's chance just like everybody, but I think that's a tall ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sad because Cody, he was the man. You're right, and ran into some tough sledding there. Had to fight TJ, got knocked out, and his performance against Dominic Cruz was fantastic, one of the best ever. But one thing that he does really well is footwork. So I think he will have a better time getting away from Figueiredo and dodging some of his strikes. But all it takes is one with that guy.
Yeah, this seems like a third round TKO or 30 to 27, pretty easy UD. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
All right.
So Bobby Green, Jim Miller. Jim Miller has fought at. Everyone loves Jim Miller. He's fought at UFC 100, fought at UFC 200. Now he's on the 300 card, and this guy's fun to watch. He has a lot of records, or is top two to top five in most records in the UFC. He's still knocking people out. He's submitting people. Bobby Green, he's flashy striker. He's going to keep his hands at his waist. He's just like that. That's how he defends himself. Doesn't really defend himself well, but he's fast. His timing's really strong. But he's coming off that really bad loss to Jalen Turner, where he got
Mhm.
his head bashed in. Very bad stoppage by the ref. I think Jim Miller, it's funny just seeing him on the card, but I think he's going to win. I think he's going to cap off what's been a great career. I don't know if he'll retire, but definitely a name to look out for that. I think his wrestling will be too strong, though. I don't think Bobby Green has that ground game. And I think we're in for a night of finishes. I don't think this will be a finish. I think this could be a 29-28 kind of wrestle fest kind of thing from Miller, but we'll have to see.
Just going to do some quick math on this one. While UFC number one was 30 years ago, um, UFC 200 was about 7 years ago. UFC 100 was about 14 years ago. So they keep going on this cycle. We might have UFC 400 in the year 2031. And maybe Jim Miller can stick around for that one. What do you think?
I don't know, man. The guy has 54 fights already. So 7 years, let's say he averages 2 fights. That would be nearing 70 fights. And I I'd love to see him fight. He's fun to watch. He brings it, but for his health and his family, I would hope that he would move on at that point.
Yeah, I think this would be a great spot to retire, win, lose, or draw. And respect to the guy for being around this long. And I remember Dana White a few months back when they were talking about it. He's like, Jim Miller's got to be on this card. He's got to be. So what you got next? What's up next?
I'm gonna skip over the ladies fight just for time. It's a good striking matchup, but there's more to go in depth, and we're not even at the main card. That's how good this card is. Jalen
Yeah,
Turner, Hanato Moicano. Turner coming off a beatdown of Bobby Green, as we just said. Very long, 6'3", got a crazy reach, very tall. Looks like Slender Man out there. He's
this
very
dude's a lightweight.
snappy.
He's 155. I didn't know he was that tall. I really don't know anything about him.
Yeah, he's very snappy with his punches and he's very long. He can use his range really well because he's taller than anybody. Hanato is actually pretty tall for the division too, but not close to Turner. And he's a wrestler. He's not a striker, but he's very tough. I could see him trying to close the distance and getting popped with something bad and not trying that again. So I think Turner's going to keep him at distance with that body kick down the middle. And if he tries to come in, Turner's a southpaw. He's going to hit him with the straight left. And I could see him Moicano's face just being battered at the end of this fight, just eating jabs, occasional hooks, just body kicks. This feels like a late stoppage kind of fight by Turner or Moicano. If he could get him down, Turner doesn't have a great ground game, but I just think he's going to be too long and he's going to keep him at distance and he's going to win.
Yeah, Turner, I don't know a whole lot about him. I mean, he's a slight favorite at minus 245 in this fight. And that kind of sounds about right to me. I'm thinking like 29-28. Fairly close on the scorecards, but fairly one-sided for the most part.
I agree.
Yeah.
Not too much to analyze there, but there is a lot for this next one. Sodiq Yusuf, Diego Lopez. Lopez came in, fought Movsar Evloev in his first fight. He fought him on 5 days' notice, and
Hmm.
he beat him up. He lost the fight 29-28, but Evloev was just holding on for dear life wrestling. This guy is great jiu-jitsu. He's fantastic on the ground. He's very slick. He can submit you from anywhere. He's fast. He has, I don't like to use this word a lot, but he has a special energy around himself. He really does. He's just always going, and he's fun to watch. He's got a terrible haircut, Diego Lopez. Oh my god! But he's so fun to watch. I think he could be a problem at 145 in the future. This is a great fight for him to step forward against Yusuf. Yusuf, great striker, great takedown defense. So it'll be interesting to see how he implements jiu-jitsu in this fight, considering Yusuf is pretty stubborn when you're trying to take him down.
Yeah, I remember you and I were watching Youssef versus Edson Barboa back in, I want to say October or something. That was a pretty good fight, knockdown, drag out. Barboa caught him.
Yeah.
Um, but I think he's going to be throwing some hands against uh, a big time grappler in this guy, um, Lopez, he's got a bunch of submissions that he's going to throw out there. Pretty interesting contrasting styles.
I think that could be fight of the night with how awesome these fights are, minus the one on the main card.
Hmm.
If they split it between prelims and main card, I think that would be the prelims fight of the night.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
So
It's good.
Kayla Harrison, two-time, was she a gold medalist? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
judo.
Judo.
Hmm.
That's a world-class athlete right there, making her UFC debut against a boxing champion, Holly Holm. And Holly's been around a long time. She hasn't been very active. She doesn't fight a lot, but Holly's kind of old. Harrison's up there as well, but it's her first fight, and she's fighting on 300. That should tell you how Dana feels about her. He thinks she's very marketable. So that could be an interesting fight if Holm can keep it on the feet, because I don't know much about Harrison on the ground. All of her fights in PFL were her getting the girl down in 30 seconds, beating her up, or submitting her in the first round. So she's going to get more pushback in this fight, but I could see her just tossing Holly around, kind of wrestling her 30-27 kind of fight. It would really, she could burst onto the scene if she got a finish against Holly Holm, though.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be very interesting. The PFL is one of those kind of obscure combat sports uh, promotions. They are on ESPN, I believe, and I've watched some of the fights. Some older UFC guys who either got cut or their contract was done. They showed up there. The PFL, they do tournament formats, not in one night like old school UFC, but they do, yeah, fights a couple months apart. And Kayla Harrison was mostly dominant. She lost I think, a split decision a couple fights ago to a solid fighter. But I think what this all comes down to, Holly Holm, a surefire Hall of Famer, um, bantamweight champion. She'll forever go down as the lady who beat the hell out of Ronda Rousey. Changed Ronda's life. She's been around a long time. She's an incredible boxer. Kayla Harrison, as an Olympian, was 170 pounds. And the PFL, they had a women's lightweight division, which was 155. So I believe she's fought at 145 before. And make no mistake about it, Dana White would have never brought her here to fight at 145 because honestly, 145 does not exist in UFC anymore. And I would be surprised if we had anything other than a catchweight fight at 145 going forward. That's just how it is. So they must have been extraordinarily confident that she could cut the 135 and be a heck of a good performer in there. As it is, don't be surprised if she's much bigger than Holly when the bell rings. And just that judo talent, she might have to eat some front kicks and some jabs, but if she gets a hold of Holly, I do believe that she could smother her pretty quick. But Holly, she's been down this road before. You know, she's been in there with the best of the best, and she's on a two-fight winning streak. She's got a lot of mileage, a lot of fights behind her. And Kayla Harrison, she's a sizable minus 450 favorite. Still some unknowns. Yeah, that weight cut could kick her ass. We'll see. I'd love to take Holly in this fight, but it's I don't know. I just don't think it sets up very well for her. I think Kayla Harrison either gets a third round submission or a 30-27.
I just think you brought up a good point with the weight cut. That could be the one thing that handicaps Harrison because Holly, as you said, she's older, but a bad weight cut, you can get kind of chinny. You can get, a body shot might hurt a little bit more than if you were cutting 10 pounds less. So I I think that could be a factor. Maybe not. She's a Olympian. She knows how to handle stuff like that. But that could be something to look out for. I'm still picking Harrison though.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a solid pick. Next one's a doozy, man.
That's a fantastic fight, and I'm kind of upset that it's that low. But the card is nuts. You got Aljo, who was one of the best champions we've seen last couple years in the best division in the UFC, and he's moving up. It's 145. I think that's natural for him. He's a very big bantamweight.
Mhm.
The only problem, he's going up against Calvin Cater, who's very thudding on his punches. Great boxer, really great boxer. Doesn't use kicks very much, but he has good wrestling defense, and that's Aljo's game. He's going to try to grab you, get on your back, and submit you. Aljo, it'll be interesting to see him move because I think, he just got knocked out, but I think he'll be more durable now. He's not cutting that extra 10 pounds. That's just what I think. I'm not sure. Getting knocked out, stuff can change, but I think he'll be more durable. I think he'll use his tempo and his pace to pepper him with jabs like he normally did. But
Yeah,
Cater's going to have to use counters on him and stop his takedowns. It's an interesting fight stylistically.
yeah, I really like Sterling in this fight. I think it's a great spot for him. I mean, he's a really good champ at 135, and O'Malley caught him. Hey, happens. I think if that fight went 5 rounds, Aljo wins 49 46. Didn't happen. They got caught. Hey, that's part of life. But that was some time back. He hadn't fought in about 8 months, so he's had that time to get comfortable at 145. I think this is going to be great for him. Uh, Calvin, he hasn't fought in a year and a half, and he was coming off of 2 losses. So Um, how much difference will the 10 pounds for Sterling make? I don't know. I like him here. He's a slight favorite. I do think this will go the decision, so
Yeah,
probably 29-28.
I think it'll go decision as well. It's up to Cater when Aljo is closing the distance to catch him with something. And if he doesn't, if Sterling gets his hands on him, he's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So I think I'll pick Sterling as well. And I think he'll get caught with some strikes. I do. But with the way he mixes in his takedowns with his striking, I think he'll be able to get him down and get that decision win.
All right. Got some tough guys coming up next year, light heavyweight.
Yeah, Yuri Prohaska and Alexander Rakic, which is weird that Rakic is the favorite. I think that's strange. Yuri is coming off of a recent knockout loss to Pereira, the main event. Yuri is very unorthodox if you watch him. He thinks he's a samurai. His striking is very interesting if you watch it. The angles that he comes at you from, it's effective because it's so strange and you can't mimic it in training. Doesn't have much of a ground game, but this won't be a ground fight. Rakic
Mhm.
hasn't fought for a while. I believe he blew his knee out.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
yeah,
It's
so it's been a while. This will just be a striking fight. Yuri,
two years, man. He hadn't fought in 2 years. He fought Jan 2 years ago.
my only thing I would pick against Yuri for is he just got knocked out. I think he's coming back a little too fast, but as you said, Rakic being gone for so long, I think that'll play a factor, and he might be a little timid in there with that big scary dude in front of him.
Rakic he hasn't won a fight in 3 years. It's interesting to note.
Yeah.
Yuri, um, yeah, he lost, but yeah, let's think about this for a second. The guy he lost to is a guy who's main eventing the card tonight, Alex Pereira. And that he's a freak, you know. I mean, he got caught by Israel Adesanya. He got caught, but the guy's already a two division champ. He's still relatively young to MMA. We'll talk about him later. I think for whatever reason, Yuri, well, he's a minus 105 and Ratchik is minus 115 on ESPN right now. I don't understand that. I wouldn't bet on it, but um, you don't know how guys are going to come back after a knockout loss like this. But I like Yuri this spot. I mean, he's former champ himself, you know. Uh,
Yuri, he has very good, what's it called? In his mind, he has a very good mentality. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's put that behind him and he's just moved on, honestly.
yeah, I think he's going to knock him out.
I do too. I agree. I'm not a betting man, but that just screams free money to me right there.
Speaking of
All
free money,
right.
okay, let's go to the fight number one of the pay-per-view, which is the champion wrestler Bo Nickel. They keep throwing mismatched tomato cans at this guy, and he keeps getting on the main card. Um, I get it. He's still very young. Uh, he's got that one incredible skill, and you know, in that matter, I'm not comparing him to Daniel Cormier as far as skill, but what I'm saying as far as the upbringing and everything, you know, that incredible wrestling. Daniel Cormier at his peak was so good at wrestling, he didn't even have to practice it the last couple weeks of camp because he could just go back to it anytime he wanted. Just you figure this one, Nickel will take Cody Brundage, close the distance, take him down within about 90 seconds, and probably hit some ground and pound. I don't think this fight lasts 2 minutes.
No, I think this shouldn't be on the main card at all. There's former champions fighting Yuri, Aljo, and they're on the prelims. I think this is total crap. This is on the main card. I really don't like that at all. Nickel a minus 2,500 favorite shouldn't be on the main card.
No,
Period.
those are crap.
Despite the outcomes already written.
Yeah. So let's move on to some good fights here. We got about 8 minutes left in our show. So um, big time former champ Charles Oliveira.
Oliveira and Sarukian. This is a fun fight stylistically. Sarukian, he's very muscular, and that's a problem because he gasses out.
Mm.
he's not there later in the fight, Oliveira is going to be in your face. As soon as that bell rings, he's going to get up in his upright stance. He's going to be in your face. He's going to walk you down the whole fight. So I don't think you take Oliveira down. That is Sarukian's game. If you take him down, you're playing with not just fire. You're playing with nuclear bombs. You're screwed. This is not good.
Yeah.
So Oliveira, he's knocking people out too. His striking's nuts. If you throw or you shoot those takedowns, he's going to throw a knee at you down the middle. Uses his kicks to the body really well. Distance striking with that right hand. And man, get on the ground with him. He's going to submit you. I don't see Armin winning this fight. He's very confident in this going into this, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I think Charles, he wants to get the title shot back, and I think he's on a mission. Dude's been around forever. He's had a lot of fights, but I think he's going to submit Armin in round two.
I do too. I think he's going to get a submission. I don't know what round, but I think Armin, he's going to come out. He's going to throw some big shots, try to get some confidence. And if he decides to shoot, the fight's over.
Yeah.
Oliveira is going to submit him.
Yeah. All right. We got the bad mother trucker for our PG fight fans out there. Belts up for grabs. Max Holloway's back, man.
This is one of the most anticipated fights I think I've ever seen. Bones, DC. I don't. As great as that was, this is going to be nuts. This is one of those fights that's advertised as crazy, and then they actually fight, and it's even crazier than you think.
Yeah.
Max moving up to 155. Gaethje, who has that crazy power, those crazy leg kicks, just a madman. He says he wants to die in the octagon every time he's out there, and I believe him. Dude's nuts. He has no brain cells.
Both of these guys, I tell you, I love both of these guys. I almost don't want to see this fight.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I
but,
Max, I think Max though, because he fought Dustin at 155. I think that was 6 years ago now.
mhm.
Put on the right weight for that fight. I think he did for this. He had plenty of time to bulk up. Max will not get tired though. That's the thing. Max will be in your face. He's shown he can eat the big shots too. He ate the big shots from Dustin.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
Gaethje's power is crazy, but I think he's going to be able to eat it. He has the one chin that can't be broken. He's going to be in your face the whole time. He uses his wrestling. I think the only problem Max will have is Gaethje's jab and his leg kicks. Max doesn't check kicks very well, and that could be really bad for 25 minutes. We saw what Volkanovski did to his legs. So
Yeah, yeah.
be a problem. But no one agrees with me, but I think Max is going to be in his face the whole time, and I think Max is going to beat him. I think he's going to overwhelm Gaethje late because he's not going to get tired. He's not. Gaethje, he puts a lot into his strikes, and he overextends at times. I think Max is going to get him. I think he's going to finish him maybe fourth round.
Max has been on one hell of a roll the past few fights since he had his third fight against Volkanovski. We watched him against Arnold Allen in Kansas City about this time last year. Totally dominant. Then he knocked out the Korean Zombie in his last fight at 145. I I tell you, I these two guys have been the best of the best. They fought the best of the best. They've beat the best of the best, and they've lost to some of them as well. I love this spot at lightweight with Max. And is this a 5 round fight? They're gonna go with five?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
that's sweet. Yeah, this one's gonna go. These guys, I think that Max probably wearing down about round four. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I think this is a 48-47 decision. Max wins in a close fight, but I think he's going to do it.
I I just think this is going to be a video game fight. It's going to be you spamming the buttons and just hoping to put damage on the other guy. And that's what's going to be. They're going to beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of the craziest fights you ever see. Gaethje, he's going to throw everything into his strikes, and you're going to be amazed when Max just shrugs it off, keeps coming at you. Max might look like a horror movie at the end of the fight, but he's not going to stop coming at you. And man, it's going to be a great fight. I love those guys, two American dudes. It's
It's going to be
exciting,
fun.
but
Gonna be
I'm taking Max.
all right. So I don't have a whole lot. We just got a few minutes left. I don't have a whole lot to say about the ladies championship fight. Zhang Weili is the champ. She's minus 525 against her countrywoman. I don't think this lasts one round.
No, yeah, Jan. She tries to wrestle. Wei Li's one of the best athletes in the UFC ever. She's so strong. She's so fast.
Yeah.
She strikes really well or wrestling well. I think this might be a first, second round submission for Wei Li.
Yeah, I don't see this one going very far. Now the only yeah, she has that chance because Rose caught Whaley twice. She's got that chance. I don't think it's gonna.
I don't either.
So the main event of UFC 300 is Jamal Hill and the champ Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. Hill is one of those guys I didn't really believe in him, but he didn't lose his title, you know,
He's very durable. He can eat a lot of tough shots.
and he's
So
gonna in this fight.
yeah, he is, and he saw that against Thiago Santos and Glover. He beat the hell out of Glover when they fought for the title. He has very strong boxing. He's very durable, and that's about it. I think he's going to try to wrestle in this fight, though. Pereira is so dangerous on the feet, and these are two giants. Pereira's had the height advantage a lot of the time in his fights. These guys are very tall. I believe their height and reach are the exact same. I believe. So this is going to be a great fight. I think Pereira. The only thing with Hill, he's a boxer. He's
Mhm.
very flat on his feet. We've seen Alex Pereira has the best leg kicks in MMA right now. It used to be Dominic Cruz back in the day. He used to butcher guys' legs. Right now, that's Alex Pereira. How he snaps his feet every time, lead leg or back leg. It's nasty. Compromises every opponent. It might be the first or second kick that does it too. So he does that so well. He doesn't show you anything. It just hits you, just pops you, pops you, pops you. Then that left hook comes. But Hill is so durable. And if Pereira can't keep him at range, if they get into boxing range where they're dirty boxing a little bit and they're close in those exchanges, that's where the fireworks start. Because one shot from either of these guys could floor either of them.
Yeah. Yeah, both of these two guys will probably come in pushing about 230 at this at uh when the bell rings and um just Alex just I just don't they're already talking about moving up to heavyweight. Now obviously that's promo talk right there. You gotta take care of business first, but I do think this could be like a third round, some kind of crazy exchange in the middle, and Alex hits him with an uppercut, finishes off with some ground and pound. That wouldn't surprise me at all. We are almost out of time, and I mean like seconds here. So I got Alex third round TKO.
I think Alex is gonna chop the legs up and they'll get into some striking exchange. Left hook. Good night.
All right, Jaws on Sports, like and subscribe. We ran short on time, folks. Have a great